We are just about ready to roll our summer rolls. We just have to cut our vegetables. I'm going to show you how to cut them today. The great thing about this part is if you want to save some time, you can buy a lot of pre-cut vegetables at the supermarkets, but they are pretty expensive. So I'm going to show you how to cut them pretty quickly today and some safety techniques. Starting with our bell pepper. We have 3 different colors. There's a lot of different ways to cut bell peppers, but I'm going to show you the most efficient way to cut it. We're just going to start from the top down, and we're going to round our knife out and take off the sides. Just like that. You can cut off these bottom parts and use that. This we'll save for later. It's where we get our seeds out. So now we have all these nice flat pieces that we can use. I do like to keep the area clean so I don't get seeds in my cuts. Now, another thing I like to do when I cut bell peppers, I like to cut them with the skin side down. We're just going to cut them into nice little strips called juliennes. That's it. What I like to do is just have a nice platter in front of me, and this is where all my cut vegetables will go, nice and in line, so that when I'm ready to roll my summer rolls, I have all my vegetables on one tray, and I only have one dirty dish. Optionally, if you have like a bell pepper with like a weird shape on it, you could just trim off it to make it flat. And then you have a nice flat piece to cut. That way you get like nice long strips, pretty even this way. But up to you. So now we're just going to cut the rest of our vegetables. All right, we're going to cut the rest of these bell peppers. I'm only going to use half because we only need half right now. Again. Another trick when cutting vegetables, or cutting anything really, is how you position your hands. So you notice when I'm cutting these veggies, I have my hands like a little claw. This is called the bear claw. This way I'm not going to cut my fingers. So I can continue to cut, and I can look up, I can talk to people, hang out while I'm still cutting vegetables, and I'm never going to cut myself. Well, maybe not never, but I'm less likely to cut myself. When cutting cabbage, we have a half a head of cabbage here. I just like to take off this root part, just break these segments off and make it flat. This way I'm working with a flat piece of cabbage versus a nice round wedge that's a little harder to cut. So now it's flat, and I can just go through and cut it. Like I said, cutting is pretty laborious if it takes a lot of time, and they do sell a lot of sliced vegetables at the markets now. So you can save yourself some time and pick up some sliced veggies. Up to you. Iceberg lettuce, same thing. I'm going to cut it in half. Remove the core. And then remove the leaves. This way I have nice flat leaves to work with. In half, and I can stack it again. So if you notice on this platter here, I'm just lining up all my vegetables, not only because it looks really nice, also when I start to roll, I can just grab from each section and grab exactly what I need and work pretty efficiently and cleanly. If you're entertaining, you have guests over and they see this, like, oh, that looks pretty, I want to eat that. For our herbs, like the cilantro, We're gonna use the whole stem and the leaves. We're just gonna cut it up a little bit so that it's a little easier to bite. We're not gonna chop it up too small. The stems are edible. They do add a nice little texture. When you're cutting a lot of vegetables, it's a good idea to just wipe your board down so that way that each vegetable doesn't cross into each other. You can keep the integrity and the flavor of each vegetable separate. So here we have a tray of our beautiful vegetables. I'm just gonna move this here. Last thing I'm gonna add to it is some fresh mint. I love adding mint to summer rolls because it adds this very fresh taste. And we're not gonna use too much of it. All we're gonna do is just pick the leaves off. We don't want the stem of the mint because it is a little more woodsy. But we do want these beautiful leaves. I can smell it already, super fresh. And that's gonna pair really well with our curry sauce. Feel free to use any vegetables that you like, adding them into the roll. If you don't like any vegetables that you see here, you can obviously leave it out. Feel free to get creative with your own summer rolls. All right, so we have our vegetables cut, we have our shrimp cooked, and our peanut curry sauce is made. So now we can start rolling.